Alrighty then, welcome back everybody, welcome back to the drawing. So as you can see, I finally colored it all fully in and started with some of the line work for it. So no further ado, let's get started and see where we're going to be adding on today. So what I want to do today is actually getting this bit drawn in. So where can I make a big giant circle? I can probably, right? Yellow, no, let's go with red. So this, no, red is too not aggressive for this. Blue. So I want this bit to be done. So this bit right here. All right. So no further ado, let's get started. So what I want to do here is creating first the base ground here and making like things that I actually wanted to create for this. So technically what we need to do is move from the ground up. So first we need to create the skeleton and then move downwards. So we need to go this way in that direction, because if we create this and then create this on top of it, we actually will have like a nice effect that we can go for. So we actually have something that makes this stand out while making this also stand out. So we have two focus points here and here, then another focus point that's going to be here, and probably another focus point that's going to be here or here, depending on the situation. All right, no further ado, let's get started. So with that said, I need to first start drawing, well, I could technically draw this first in and then get towards that, but that's not a very smart idea because this needs to be up front. Well, I could always lay it down, so I might as well do it like that then. So the question is like, how well do I want to go for? Do I want to go for 5 or do I want to go for 8 for this? It depends on if I want to go for the route of, like, I can actually create this and then with 5 I could not do that if I'm correct, because if I then draw small, yeah, then I will miss a lot of line work. So I need to do this on 8, because otherwise it will be outskilled. Alright. No further ado, let's get started. So let's go here, making sure that this is all nice and, well, nice and non-sceneable, and then we're going to be able to do what I want to do here. So I want to first create the rock textures that I want to create. So let's create first a rock right here with some nice little juicy effects here and there. And then of course adding in some nice effects. So I need to add in probably not too sharp, otherwise I will not be able to do things properly. So not too sharp here. So with that said, we now have a rock. We technically could go for a nice gapping rock, so like this, but that makes that a little bit awkward. But we could technically go here with that. So let's do that. So now we actually have something to work with. Now we have something to work with, and now we can add in the rock effect. So let's double check this, because I don't know for sure if I did it correctly. So I need to be at the me image and then go back to the New Year's poster. So that is not in here, right? The New Year poster is not here, right? No, it's not. So it's then in the me version. So let's go to the me. First things first, let's go to the me. Then we have the thumbnail of paint, we have those, and that should then work. All right, so how did I do these things? I created flat lines on the side and then making, yes, all right, so this is technically the correct way to do it. But I need to make sure that I have them like so. But I need to make sure that they are not aggressively flat. Yes, there you go. Now we have the first rocks done. So now we have the first rocks done. Or at least partially. Is it then too thick lined? No way. It might be. Alright. So I need to do this on tick line 5. Oh boy. Let's try this again. So do I want to then first draw the rocks in and then add the grass later? I think drawing the rocks first is better, and then add the grass afterwards. There we go. Now we done that part. Now we can add another rock here. A bit more bigger, honestly. And how do I do these things then? I need to add more stuff to it. Alright. So these rocks are good. Now we need to add some oddities to it. So let's add some more rocks to it, but these ones I need to be bigger. No. I need to make the size of it first and then add the rock texture to it later. So let's add it like so. All right. Oh, come on. How about that? Means that I need to make sure that this one is like that, focused. And then I can actually add stuff out of there. There we go. Now we actually have some stuff to work with. Don't add too many hooks to it. There you go. Now we have our rock. Now we need to transform the rock a little bit more. There we go. Then we can add a secondary rock to it now. So now we need to add the big secondary rock to it. There you go. And then we're going to be adding in the next rock. There you go. And now we're going to be adding in this big rock. Right. Now we have done that. It's all way too thick, but it will work. And then of course I actually want also one here, like a big one as well. Okay. Now we have the rock idea done. Now we need to get the rocks done. So I need to make this into 5 pixels per line work, not the 10, because it doesn't work like that, sadly. Yeah, that's a lot better. Let's see. Right, and then we're gonna go over here, making sure that one is done. Like that. Then we're gonna go over here. There we go. Easy. There we go. Now we have those rocks done. Now we can go to the last one, and then, well, one last one. So one last, and then that one. Then we're good to go. All right. Easy, and then just get these stupid rocks into that formation. Then putting that formation like so. Easy. Yep. And now the last one. With that said, we're almost good. Not too bad. For what I want to do today is getting the startup and then work, and then of course do some retalking afterwards. So all right, now we're done with that. Let's save, just in case. I don't want to lose all the progress here. That one is gonna be, yeah. All right. So what I've done for now is drawing the rocks. Then we're gonna be coloring up the rocks, and then we're gonna be making the grass afterwards on the rocks. So with that said, we now actually have like a nice looking rock formation, which we can then use to implement things like, so a mistake here and a mistake here. Yes. This is why it's always important to just look back at it, take a little bit of a break, and then go back at it again. So yeah, with the rocks formation now done, we can now get towards the second part of it, which is coloring up, and then afterwards we can add in the grass, and then we actually have a good fill. So now we can actually add some more stuff to it if we want to, but first the rocks, because the rocks are the foreground effect that needs to be done. A little bit coming back towards the thing that I wanted to show, what I wanted to tell before I started, and I forgot about it. This right now is how it looks. So it's not great, it's not there yet, but with the big giant crocodile here already on it, and then with the rocks here filling up the gap, we only need to have a little bit of aggressive grass on this side, and we should be able to get this thing fully working. Because once we have that grass in there, we actually already have a nice fill. And then with adding in the skull part, we actually have a nice environment that goes like so. So there is a nice environment that goes like so. Instead of, well, instead of having a flat environment that, you look at like so, which right now is the idea, so we're not having yet the full fill up. But once we have this nice thing filled up, we're going to be making sure that this thing is like moving to that direction, and we're going to make this direction to that side. So we're going to need to have something here, but we want to make sure that this bit right here is open. So this thing actually needs to have a different kind of idea to it. So this is going to be open, so that we actually have like a nice environment that goes this way and that way. Then we need only a bit here and a little bit there, and then we should be fine. All right. So yeah, I think I will leave it here for now, mainly because I feel my hand absolutely already a little bit tired from the detail work, and yeah, I think I did a good progress here, designing the rocks, getting towards the point, and I already did a lot of busy work today, getting the whole dragon done, and getting the background sketches done so that we actually have something to work with. I could technically fill them up. Yeah, I should. I actually should already do that. So we already have like something to work with. So let's pick that up, grab this, grab that color first, and then we're going to be making sure that we have the nice coloring rocks already. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm using the right color, right? I'm using the right coloration here, right? Yeah, I do. Good. So with that, we're going to be just doing a coloring, and then we can add some more stuff to it. So we're going to be adding plants to it, and then once that whole thing is then filled up, then we're going to be adding in the big giant skull, and then it should be all fine. So right now we have like this rock formation that is a baseline structure that is technically with the grass, but I actually wanted to have, not everything grass, so that's why I added some rocks there. If you walk around in these kind of forests, you should be able to trip over rocks, because, that's quite cool to do. All right. There you go. Easy. So the idea here is that I'm gonna be just erasing all of the color. It's not very spectacular, but oh well. You can already see that it does already look nice. But yeah, it's missing the environment parts. Of course, you don't want to make the environment parts too aggressive, so that it takes away from the big giant picture in the room. So that's why you always need to make sure that if you do detail work, that you need to always make sure that the centerization of where you want to add the detail work complements the parts that are not detailed. So like rocks, they are very detailed, but they're not that detailed. They're detailed, but not detailed in this part of the wood. They're not in the center, they are actually on the sideline. And with the plants and the vegetables, then, you know, things are a lot more easier to see, most likely. Yeah, do I have everything? Yes, I do. All right, cool. Okay, now start with our next color. So the idea here is that I'm using colors upon colors upon colors. So let's first do the line work for the top parts, because, you know, we need to do that anyway. So first things first, we need to define where the line work is and what kind of things we want to Sometimes it's easy, by the way, but sometimes it's absolute nightmare to figure out which one it was again. Because, you know, you drew all the colors on it. So that one, no. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. That one. That one, no. That one, no. And then we're going to be able to do this one. These ones are actually quite more easier to find. All right, then we're going to be adding in the darker color. And then that should work. And with the grass, of course, we need to add in the grass in such a way that we have it like this. That's gonna be a pain in the ass to do again, but that should work. I should be able to get that right. Ah, spot a mistake here. I need some line work here. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to figure out where I need to be putting them. The highlights. There we go. The grass is, by the way, gonna be a very difficult thing to do, but it needs to be done. And let's hope I can do it. Of course, we need to fill up the things here and there with the grass. So I need to just fill up stuff. And because this is a more bigger jungle, you know, we need to not use rocks that many times. Which is sad, but, you know, we need to make, like, trunks happening and that, like that. Logs that are pulled down. Broken grass, stomped on grass, or something like that. Yeah. Now we have something to work with, and it looks nice. Nice. All right. Now we have actually the rocks done. This 42. Yeah, I'm gonna be calling it quits here now, for real. All right. I hope you'll enjoy it for now. And yeah, this is how the rocks are drawn. And then afterwards, tomorrow I will get the grass in there, shoved in there with some nice little palm leaves and all that stuff. And nooks and crannies. All right. I hope you all enjoyed, and thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Until then, I want to wish you a lovely day, and bye!